everyone, welcome back to Angie in Real Time. Sorry I haven't been on or posting videos in a while. I came down with a sickness, so I am feeling better now and we're back to videos. So today was our back to school day, so I'm gonna cook a big meal for my boys tonight. And I'm gonna show you guys how to make apple pie and pie crust with Crisco. There we go, Crisco. Okay, so come on. So I'm gonna flip the phone around. So I am just using the recipe on the back of the Crisco jar. I tried using butter a couple times and Crisco does work better. My mom has used this recipe for years and she's gotten her pie crust down, so she's like really good at rolling it out and it's perfect. So I'm still in the beginning stages and I'm gonna show you guys still. But this recipe on here does make 2 pie crusts for me. I felt like it did not yield enough pie crust, so I am doubling it. So I started out with 4 cups of all-purpose flour and then also 2 teaspoons of salt, and I whisked that together. All right, so I added 1.5 cups of Crisco, and then I am going to use my pastry cutter to work this in now. And then I'm not following the recipe verbatim because my mom showed me an easier way that I think will help you guys too. It's less fuss. You don't have to chill the pie crust or anything. So we're gonna add 1/2 cup of cold water after we add this Crisco. I'll show you that, and it'll start looking, working its way in. Here we go. I've been slowly working in the Crisco into the flour and salt mixture. And at first I was like, oh gosh, this isn't, looking right. It still looks real floury. But about 2 minutes, it's starting to look more like pie crust consistency. So I'm going to go another probably 2 minutes, and then I'll show you after working in the cold water. Right, this was another 2 minutes of, cutting it up with the pie cutter, and you can see it's getting in these big pieces now. So it's starting to get more pie crust consistency now. So I'm going to keep going a little longer, and then I will put in the ice water. Okay, so now I slowly worked in 1/4 cup of cold water. I used the filtered water from my fridge. I think that's the right, chill for it. And I have, this beautiful pie dough that looks like a sugar cookie. It's not sticking to my fingers at all, you can see. So I think this method works a lot better than if you chilled the pie crust and followed the method of the Crisco can. So just pour that cold water right in, and you know what? Now I am ready to roll it out. So I've got my floured surface here, and I am just gonna actually break this in 2 and make my 2 pie crusts right away. They'll be huge, but the rest I will use to make little pie crust cookies or something. Okay, I'll show you after I roll this out. Maybe I'll flip it around here. All right, so I broke up my 2 pie crusts. I'm gonna put it in a nice ball. Make sure it's looking good. And this is a trick I noticed with pie crust. It's not like rolling out cookie dough. It does get a little breaking on the corners. So you kind of just keep molding it like clay, so I'm just, I get a little cracks on the corner and I push it together. So I'm going to flatten this out like a perfect little disc right now. I'll show you that in a second so that I can start making the shape for my pie crust. And you know what? I'm going to it's not going to be perfect, and I'm going to cut it out with a butter knife at the end. So here we go. And already I can tell you I followed the Crisco recipe the first time. This was sticking everywhere. And, I chilled it in the fridge for probably like 45 minutes to an hour, like it said. And it is way better to just not chill this. It's warm right now. It's working really great. So I'm going to add some more flour on top. And I'm just going to try to roll this thing out right away. Let's just do this, right? I've got my pie pan right here, ungreased. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, this is working better already. As you can see, it is cracking a little bit, but it's nothing I can't work with, essentially, to make the round pie crust, and doubling makes a difference. So if you are a novice to pie crust making, don't use butter, use Crisco. And there is nothing wrong with Crisco, right? And I've got this really nice thing. I'm gonna flip it one more time. See, look, already, like it's already better. I'm really happy about this. You guys are experiencing me doing this method that my mother showed me first. So it's working way better than this. So yeah, the difference is the Crisco recipe tells you to, chill your dough for 30 minutes. Don't do that. And then also it tells you to be adding icy water, like put ice cubes in the water. Don't do that too. So I just used cold water and did not chill this, and it is beautiful. And I think I have this big enough now for my pie crust. So here we go. This is gonna be the bottom. Oh, be so careful. Okay, so I'm bringing my pie pan over here. I'm just gonna lay this right in here, see if it's big enough. Oh my god, you guys, this is beautiful. Do not buy a pie crust anymore. Do you know I started doing this because I went to the grocery store. We make quiches a lot at my house, and see, and I've got like a funky spot here. Like, I'm just gonna, you know, use it like clay and knead it up, right? Make it look beautiful. Anyway, so first of all, I go to Trader Joe's a lot, and Trader Joe's is not going to have pie crust until September, they said. So I was buying pie crust all the time for pies, quiches, all kinds of things, you know, that we make, chicken pot pie. And yeah, so they didn't have any. My other local grocery store, Piggly Wiggly, has some. And I know all you Aldi fans, Aldi has some too. But yeah, it was like $6.50 for 2 pie crusts. So I was like, enough of this. Let's make pie crusts. I can make pie crusts. Anyways, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I have time to do this stuff. I know you other working families and stuff, you know, might be better for convenience, but this didn't take me more than, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. If I was faster at it, maybe like 10. You can do it. So, okay, I'm gonna show you my apples now for the apples. So I chopped up all my apples. It's the recipe I'm using said to use 8 apples. I think I'm only gonna need 6. So I used my apple slicer, and then I chopped them up a little smaller, so they're probably about a 1/4 inch thick. And I got this giant Pyrex bowl full of them, and I'm gonna show you how to make the mix that you put on top of it to sweeten it. So I have a 1/4 cup of flour in here. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of sugar, white granulated sugar. And I'm sorry, I also added 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And then I am going to add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg too. Oh, I dropped a little, so let's add a little more. Alright, let's put that to the side. I'm going to get my whisk and whisk it together very gently so the salt gets all incorporated into the filling. You're basically making like kind of a cinnamon sugar mixture here. Let's get all the little chunks of the flour out. Okay, and it should be ready. So grab all my apples. I got it evenly distributed over the top, so I don't have to stir it as much. Put that all in. It's basically the same concept as the apple crumble. And then I've got my spatula, and I'm just gonna make sure it's all incorporated into the apples. Mix my pie crust a little more, maybe. You know what? You could like take it off too and just add, like I was missing a little bit here. Add it on here. So that when I put my first one on, or my top, you know, pie crust on, it is all together. So, yeah, this looks really nice. So, and I'm not even good at rolling them out yet, but it's looking really great. I'm happy with that Crisco pie crust. It's no fuss, you know? So, butter's fussy, all that stuff, so, unless you're really good at doing it. Okay, so just make sure that all of this flour, sugar, cinnamon mixture gets incorporated into the apples, because some of it sits at the bottom, and the apples are soaking in the mixture. Okay, looking good. All right, so So I am ready to, like how my pie crust is. My pie crust is covering almost every side. I'm just gonna smooth it out a little more on the edges before I put everything in so we don't have any cracks on the bottom and somebody gets the piece that breaks apart. I'm sure that'll happen anyways, but look at how beautiful that looks so far, and I'm gonna make it better. I mean, it looks like, you know, like this thick, expensive, you know, pie crusts that you can get at Trader Joe's or whatever in the freezer kind of section, you know. Okay, put the apple mixture in. I'm just gonna use my hands, get in there. Get that in there. Yeah, so 6 apples was way more than enough. You do not need to use 8. All right, beautiful. This is gonna be fantastic. Okay, just make sure they're all in there, not touching the pie crust edges. And I have 2 tablespoons of Kerrygold butter here. And I am going to cut it into small little pieces and place it around the top of the pie. It doesn't have to be pretty, it's just gonna melt, you know. And put them all around there so it gets incorporated. All right, let's move all this. Oops. All right, so that's, let me give you a good look at that. That's what that looks like. Oh, I lost my butter. You get the point. And now I've got my other pie crust here. Let's do that disc again. And roll this baby out and get, you know, this is the quickest apple pie ever made besides, you know, using a pie crust. But I think this pie crust is going to taste phenomenally better too than the store-bought. So, yeah, let's push it down. So yeah, I'm really happy about this. I think you guys will like using this recipe. Every year I usually make apple crisp, but we're trying apple pie this year, so I think this is good. All right, put a little flour on top to roll this thing out. Get all my stuff out of the way. Like I said before, just incorporating any cracks that may come, but there are very few, and this is working very nicely. It's very fast. So, no mess Crisco pie crust. Here we go. Anyone can be a pie crust maker now. I'm gonna make pies for Thanksgiving. It's gonna be good. Instead of just buying the crust all the time, huh? And it is, in this economy, you know, the cheapest way to do it too. I mean, how many pie crusts am I gonna get out of that big tin? A lot. So pretty awesome. Let's push everything together. Okay, I'm gonna see, here we go, my pie crust, beautiful. Plop it on top, here we go. You see? Okay, so now I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna crimp it, connect it to the edges of the pie crust. Here we go, you can see better that way probably. And you know what? I am not a fancy girl with this, you know. I learned a lot of my cooking, obviously from my parents and then from Jamie Oliver too. So he does not mess around, you know. Everything ends up looking beautiful, but it's very rustic, and that's sometimes beautiful in itself. So this does not need to be a beautiful pie, it just needs to taste good, huh? So let's just connect everything together to make sure nothing is leaking out the sides. All right. Okay, so now I'm just gonna use my fingers and make little divots, pinches in the pie crust. Can you see? Perfect. Amazing. I'm so happy about this. You guys don't understand. I'm sure you will too. It was like, pie crust was like the final frontier for me. I was like, I'm a good baker, but this is like really difficult the way I was doing it. So I'm very happy about this. Okay, so I have pinched all my sides I'm pretty happy. This looks good for, you know, Tuesday night dinner. I am going to get my knife and cut a hole in the top so everything can escape. You can use a little cookie cutter too if you have that. I'm trying to do it quick. All right. There we go. See my apples through there. Do some little slices for ventilation. More ventilation. Okay. How beautiful is that? Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some egg wash. Okay, so let's do this egg. Okay, so whisk up one egg. And I have my pastry brush, and I am going to gently, lightly wash my pie. Okay, and I'm sorry, I never told you guys to preheat your oven to 425 for this apple pie. Let's go easy with the egg wash so it's not glumpy or clumpy everywhere. Okay, almost done. Okay, so I put egg wash all over the top. It's gonna be nice and shiny. Add a little more there to the edges. Nooks and crannies everywhere. All right. And then the final thing I like to add, and I do this with like a ton of different baked items. So muffins I do this with too, is I add, my secret ingredient is sugar in the raw on top. My kids love it, the like extra sugariness that goes on top. It makes it a little crispy and crunchy, and honestly it like makes it kind of, you know, like professional looking. So sprinkle it everywhere on top, and you do have to be liberal with your application of the sugar in the raw, or otherwise it'll just melt too. So a little more. All right, okay, so we got our pie ready. I'm going to put it in the 425-degree oven for 50 minutes. We will show you what it looks like when it comes out. Alright guys, here is the final product of apple pie. Enjoy this pie crust recipe.